I can't believe I get to say this, but Carti has officially dropped his album, I Am Music. A highly anticipated album that we've been waiting for about almost 5 years now. And it's crazy that it just finally dropped. And it dropped on Pi Day. That's why I'm rocking this shirt. It's Pi Day. Don't ask why I have it, but I do. But however, what we're really going to talk about is this album, man. 30-track album. Hour and 16 minutes. That's the runtime on the album. And I'm going to say this, it's generational. Huh? I can't remember the last album that had this much hype outside of maybe Utopia within the past couple years. That's the only one I could think of right now. And I'm going to be honest with you, real music always wins, and Carti proved that with this album. Real music always prevails, it always wins, and it always outlasts anything in the game, right? And in my opinion, Carti dropped some real fucking music. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Carti dropped a great album. For 30 tracks, I'm impressed. I'm impressed for how many tracks are on there and how many tracks I genuinely liked. And I keep finding myself going back to those tracks because I genuinely think this album has quality on here. Got a great amount of replay value in my opinion. And I'm just going back and back and back. And I'm like, I don't even know what's my favorite song because there's so many bangers on here. But let's talk about the rollout first, because this guy, truly, in my opinion, should have dropped the album over a year ago. He should have dropped this February, March last year. So about exactly a year ago, should have dropped, because his rollout at that time was chef's kiss. It was fucking perfect. You know, he had Hood by Air 2024 music. He was on Carnival, I think. He was on Fiend. He came out at that point. It was legendary at that point. I was like, dude, just drop the album, bro. You already have so much hype. Let's fucking do it. Never happened. Never came into fruition. And unfortunately, it was just a fumble. He drops it now randomly. He just tweets out randomly because I think the refunds were like, hey, if he doesn't drop within this day, he's gonna have to give out refunds or some shit. I don't know. So I guess he was just obligated to fucking just drop the album because he didn't want to get those refunds out. So I don't really know what's up with that, but he dropped it. He said Friday, and I was like, oh shit. I'm like, that's this week. That's literally in like 2 days, right? I was like, I don't know if this guy's lying to me, but here goes nothing, right? So man, this rollout pissed me off because there's literally like my hype. I was nowhere near excited for this album as I was a year ago. But I told myself, doesn't matter because I'm still gonna tune in because it's the only album I'm looking forward to. So it didn't really matter anyways because I fucking stayed up listening to it, which we're gonna talk about that part too because that part pissed me off, right? It's like the night of. Usually I live on the west side, so usually when albums drop, it drops at 9 p.m. my time, right? So he's like, hey, I'm gonna drop it 12 a.m. Pacific time, my time, right? So I'm like, okay, I gotta stay up to 12 in the morning. All right, fine, I can do it. It's Carti. I'm willing to wait for him. It's 12 in the morning and no fucking album. Right, so I'm just like, okay, bro. Like, at this point, I'm like, okay. Carti just wants to be different. He wants to drop his album at a random time because, you know, he wants to keep up his aura of being mysterious and different. But, dude, it's corny. But I wasn't really surprised. It's 12 in the morning. I'm like, oh my god, bro. I'm like, I'm going on Twitter. I'm going everywhere. I keep refreshing Spotify like 20 times. I'm down bad. I've never been this down bad for a fucking artist before, for an album. It's 12 in the morning. It's like 12:10. I've been up since like fucking 5:30 that day in the morning, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm so fucking tired. I didn't want to stay up any longer, but I did. It was like 12:10, 12:30, whatever. By the time it was 12:30, I was like, yeah, I'm going to bed because I see tweets people saying any minute now, and I'm like, bro, I'm not waiting any longer. I took my ass to bed and I went to sleep. I woke up. It's like 6 in the morning now, and the album dropped. It apparently dropped like an hour before I went to sleep. So I was like, okay, shit. So I saw it. I'm like, oh shit, he dropped it. And I just scroll and I'm like, holy fuck, 30 tracks. Instantly turned that shit on. I got my headphones on. I'm like, I'm on my bed. I'm just fucking playing the songs. And I'm like, okay. And boom. That was my experience listening to the album. And in my opinion, Carti did his thing. It was a great album. I did not expect me to like that many tracks first listen. I keep going back and I liked maybe 3-4 more extra songs. Really great album in my opinion. Great features overall. Travis Scott, Future. Although Future, I got to Future's part sometimes and I'm like, this guy's putting me to sleep. But overall, great features. Well, I will say this. There is a lot of times because the deep voice Carti, what they do with his voice inflections and just like the auto-tune and everything and how they lower his voice down to make it more deeper, it sounds like Future a good amount of times, and I just couldn't tell if it was Future or Carti because Future was on the album I think twice or 3 times. I don't really remember. Travis Scott was on there I think a couple times, and then there was Kendrick. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know why Kendrick was on this album. In my opinion, he needs to just get out, bro. I'm sorry, Kendrick's cool, but he does not belong on a Carti album. Like, I get it. He's the hottest thing right now, but don't put him on this album. I don't know why he was on this album. His ad libs were awful. He was just so awkward. He didn't know what to do on some of these beats. I don't know why he was on here, especially multiple times. Get the fuck out of here, bro. You had Uzi on there. I was so shocked when I saw Uzi on the track list. I was like, holy shit, it's Uzi. It feels like 2017, 2018 again, even though I didn't really listen to them at the time. But I was surprised to see Uzi on there twice. He had a solo song that shocked me, and then he had the feature. My only downside of that was just the songs were too short. But overall, the album experience was good because I was like, okay, you know what? This album isn't really dragging because I woke up, I'm a little tired, but I was like, it's not that bad. I finished the album and I was like, you know what? I'm actually pretty happy for how many songs I liked. I was pretty content with the amount of songs I liked. I was like, you know what? I'm getting out of this album about 15 tracks that I think are bangers. Because in my opinion, there's a couple bangers on there, and I think the best song is the Weeknd song. I'm gonna say it's on par with Timeless. It's a banger. It's a great song. Production on this album, fucking amazing, top notch quality. And in my opinion, it was worth the wait. I know people are gonna be like, this guy made us wait for four to 5 years. Blah, blah, blah. Nothing can be worth the wait. In my opinion, you have unrealistic expectations. I don't really know what you wanted from this album. People are gonna say this is his worst album. I'm seeing people saying online this is his worst album. This is his best album. Blah blah. Look, one thing I appreciate about Carti, and the reason why I like him so much, is because he always switches it up. None of his albums sound like this. None of his albums sound like the other album. Self-Titled doesn't sound like Die-Lit. Die-Lit doesn't sound like Whole Lotta Red, and Whole Lotta Red doesn't sound like I Am Music, and any arrangement of those, they sound nothing alike. And that is why he is so good. Because most artists cannot do that. They cannot switch it up every album, and somehow Carti has just figured out how to keep people invested, keep coming back, and making it quality. Carti knows what he's doing, and I really appreciate that. And that is why I think this is so far my favorite album I've listened to in a long time. I really, really like this album a lot. I can't believe I like it this much. I was expecting me to only like maybe 8 songs on here. I ended up liking way more than I thought. Maybe like 17, 18 songs. Yes, 18 out of 30 is not like perfect. He didn't go 30 for 30. I'm not saying there's no misses on here. But what I am saying is that there's a lot of replay value on this album. I wasn't expecting anything to be cohesive. Yes, there's a bunch of sounds and everything, different inflections, different features, everything. I think it had a bit of everything that I was looking for, and I got what I wanted. You had some of those singles that he dropped on his Instagram, on YouTube on 2023, and he put them on there. He had Hood by Air, he had Ketamine, and he had Evil Jordan on there. So some people were going to be happy about that. I'm really happy I saw Hood by Air on there because it was one of the best singles he released at that time. Overall, I'm pleased. I'm happy. I'm just actually really happy this album dropped because it was the only album I've been looking forward to from the mainstream for years now. Like, everyone's been dropping. Like, you had Kendrick drop, J. Cole drop, Drake, Uzi. At this point, it's like, who else is there left now? Maybe A$AP Rocky, but Travis Scott dropped too. Kanye's been dropping and shit, dropping bullshit, whatever. But overall, all the mainstream, like, GOATs and, like, the OGs, the big ones, they all dropped besides Carti. So that was the one I was looking really forward to. And in my opinion, he nailed it. He knocked it out of the park, and he's here to stay, man. Like, he's not going to fall off anytime soon, in my opinion. He proved that he belongs here, and I just think he's just better than like a lot of these rappers that are like at the top. Like, I think he's surpassed Kanye now at this point. And I'm not talking about Kanye overall. I'm just talking about current Kanye, which it's not saying much because current Kanye sucks. But overall, if I'm looking for creativity, new flows, experiments, production, I think Carti just is way better than Kanye right now. Because obviously, when you're listening to Kanye, you're not listening to him for his raps. You're listening to him for other things. And that makes him unique, stand out, his production. Just the experimental stuff. And I appreciate that from Carti. And clearly, he knew what he was doing with this album. And I'm happy, man. Look, I know he made us wait for so long. He lied a bunch of times. People want to call him a liar. Never forget the incidents of like the narcissist stuff that was going to happen in 2022. He left a Twitter post in 2022. He's like, oh, now I need to feed my fans or some shit. And then it led to absolutely nothing. So, you know what? I'm happy. I think everyone else is going to be happy. And at the end of the day, real music always wins. This is better than that Kendrick album. It's better than that Drake album. It's better than Utopia, in my opinion. I didn't really like Utopia like that. This album nailed it. It fucking shot expectations for like mainstream albums, especially for rap, in my opinion, through the stratosphere. People need to step up their game, in my opinion, because this shit was done brilliantly. I can't wait to see his sales, because his sales are also going to be fucking great. They should also be, I think, about 300,000 to 400,000 first weeks. That's my predictions for the album sales. I think he's already sold like 150K off bundles alone. So factor that in with the streams, he sold 100K first week with Whole Lotta Red without the bundles. So that's looking up, and he's tripled in size since then. So he's probably gonna sell around 300 to 400K first week. And in my opinion, that's a huge fucking W. He's over here gonna be out streaming the weekend and outselling the weekend off streams alone. And that's impressive, man. You can't hate on it. You just can't hate on it. He's charting super high in the Apple charts already. Spotify, I think we're gonna see that later on. But overall, not that out of the park. Carti is the guy right now. I think he is my favorite artist at the moment. He definitely proved that, and he is my favorite artist right now. Can't believe I'm saying that, because I remember when Whole Lotta Red dropped, I thought it was trash. And I thought he was trash overall, but look at me switching up now. But I'm here to be honest with you. Times have changed, Not everything's about fucking lyrics and just, who could rap the best. In my opinion, it's who can sound the best. Who can make things sound the best. And I think Carti has somehow found a formula that works for me. And clearly a lot of other people, because he's just been taking things to the next level, charting so many things on Billboard and all these things, influence the impact that he's had on this culture, because clearly he has had a cultural shift on this culture currently, especially within hip-hop, and it's been awesome to witness. Yes, some fans are a little bit too much. I'm not one of them. I promise you I am not. But for the most part, some people are too down bad for this guy. But overall, I'm happy with this album. I want to hear what you guys think. So far, this is album of the year for me. Maybe album of the decade. We'll see, because I know a lot of people like to glaze Whole Lotta Red. We'll see how things go. Overall, great album.